In the method of education that we call the Suzuki method, one of the things which we regard as being of extreme importance and about which we are always deeply concerned is the matter of developing each student's desire or enthusiasm. For if the student loses his desire, then teaching him can only end in failure. Thus, we must consider this problem of how to develop each student's desire as a very important one deserving our utmost attention. Furthermore, one of the greatest influences here is the home. In other words, the matter of developing the student's desire at home. And this, of course, is something each mother must attend to. Thus, our first assignment, shall I say, is to explain this clearly to the mothers. For example, in encouraging the student's desire, she should not get angry or shout, but should create a home environment in which the student will enjoy practicing. So our first big task is to help the mothers learn how to create this good environment. After all, the student's lesson is only once a week. Thus, the results we get in developing the student's ability are greatly dependent on those other 6 days of practice at home, on how they are conducted and how they contribute to this development of ability. These 6 days a week of practice at home are thus of utmost importance. I think we can even say the home environment is a 7-day-a-week concern. In this regard, after much thought, we struck upon the following idea and have been employing it very effectively in our teaching. That is, most families these days already have audio cassette tape recorders. Anyway, we have the mother bring the tape recorder and record each lesson. Listening to it at home is a great help to the pupil, for that way he can hear right at home, again and again, every day of the week, what his teacher has told him. Moreover, using this same medium of the tape recorder, it's possible for me, in effect, to give lessons to students right in their own home. You see, we've made a series of tapes with this in mind. That is, I've taken each piece in our collection of practice pieces, and I myself have recorded explanations and guidance to students on how each section of the piece should be practiced and about the things they should be concentrating on at each stage. It's fun then for the student to practice along with teacher. Now let's work on this. Ready? Okay, let's play it together. In this way, again and again, I go over with the pupil the main points to be worked on in each piece. Now, if the student has trouble with a certain section, we have his mother press the stop button, stop the recorder, and have the pupil practice that part. When he seems to be able to do it, she can say, "Okay, this time let's play along with teacher." And when he can indeed play a section along with the recording, then we move on to the next exercise. So, using these tapes, each student can practice in a very worthwhile way, just as though I were right there, always guiding him. Similarly, we ask the mothers to play records for their children often. In this way, as he listens frequently to melodies, the student will gradually memorize all of them by means of his mental, or perhaps we can say internal, ability. When this happens, he'll be filled with enthusiasm to play. These are the reasons we ask mothers to keep playing records for their children as part of the child's home practice. After practicing with my tape-recorded guidance, when a student can at last play a piece through, then I say, my voice in the same tape recording, says, "Okay, now let's play a duet with teacher. Let's play it together." The pupil then gets ready and joins me in a duet. For once my part is on tape, it's very easy for the pupil to play a duet with teacher. Do it as often as you like, his mother may say. Don't just leave teacher all by himself alone and lonely. Saying little things like this will make it interesting to the pupils. and indeed they'll enjoy playing a duet with me often. Then when the student can play the piece well, even as a duet, we say something like, "Well now, let's try a solo." And we move on to having him play a solo with piano accompaniment. So that we could do this, we prepared audio tapes of the piano accompaniments to all our practice pieces. His mother puts the tape on the tape recorder and starts it and helps him get the timing of when to begin his solo. Repeating this every day, eventually he will master the piece and be able to play it exactly in tune and with the proper rhythm too. Anyway, today, by means of these tapes we've prepared, we endeavor to assist the mothers of our students throughout the country as they help the children with their practice. And then the child who has practiced in this way goes and has his weekly lessons with his own teacher. At that time, the teacher corrects his posture, helps him get a better sound, and gives him correct guidance on a variety of other important problems. And again, the child practices these things at home. When he has corrected all these minor faults, then he may turn to the instruction tapes I have prepared and, in effect, practice with me. In this way, our students develop their sense of rhythm and tune, and then work on tonalization to learn to make even more beautiful tones. This method is being followed throughout the country, at least for beginners, up through Volume 4. Our efforts are directed to building their desire so that they will enjoy practicing at home and working on these elements of their playing. Because the mothers themselves, as a rule, do not play the violin, there can be trouble between them and the children over various aspects of the children's study. But since we have adopted the different techniques I've discussed, these sources of trouble have for the most part been eliminated. And this harmony in the home practice environment, I believe, also itself contributes to building the student's desire. And there are still other ways of doing this. For example, I've mentioned how the children thoroughly enjoy playing along with the piano accompaniment on tape. They can even give home concerts, say on Saturday evening after supper, playing 2 or 3 pieces with accompaniment and inviting their father to listen. We encourage all kinds of devices and inventions like this, for they make practice enjoyable and thus contribute to building the child's desire to play. This all may sound like quite a collection of tricks, but this matter of how to make home practice fun for the pupil so that he will really enjoy doing it, this is truly the most important problem of all for us teachers. If the first way we work on building the child's desire is by making his home practice effective and enjoyable, then the second way is surely through the child's weekly lesson with his teacher. Here too we have fun while developing his desire to play. For example, to this end we have the students play pieces which they already know and have them continually strive to play them better. This of course also helps them develop their ability. In practice, when the pupil can play a piece well, we say, "Now let's strive for an even better sound," and we have him play a duet with a more advanced student. This is a lot of fun for both of the students. And then we tell the younger one, "Well, that was very good, but come back next week and play the duet again, but this time be able to play it just as well and with just as fine a sound as the more advanced student." And saying this, we send him home. If we do this, sure enough, the younger student comes next time and tries to do even better, playing the duet with his more advanced friend. And we find that he is full of the desire to play. You see, in all our work, we strive to gradually build up this desire. Now, thirdly, one other thing about the second area, that of our classroom lessons, as I just mentioned. Whatever the children may do, we never get angry or scold them. After all, when we stop and realize that they are studying with us for the very reason that they cannot play, then it's clear that there's no point in getting angry at them just because they cannot play. Rather, we must help them to become able to play. With love, not anger, we must try to figure out why they cannot play and then give them the necessary help. That is our job. And it's because we conduct our schools in this way that the children always come to their lessons with happy faces and in high spirits. We feel this keenly, and it is a great joy to us. Now, thirdly, another practice we employ. Of course, it's one way of building the pupils' desire, and they really enjoy it very much. And that is the group lesson. We have these twice a month, and since they can be part of the children's Sunday playtime, we hold them on Sundays for about an hour or an hour and a half. All the students gather and have a good time playing in unison, each joining in according to his ability, that is, playing the pieces he has learned. Naturally, in the case of the more difficult pieces, only a small number of children have progressed far enough to be able to play them. So we cover for this, in some cases by using audio cassette tapes of the piano accompaniment. We have such recordings of all the accompaniments. Students really enjoy this chance to play along with their friends the pieces they've learned, especially when there is piano accompaniment, just like a real orchestra. And for this reason, I consider these group lessons a very essential part of our program for building desire. Now, a fourth aspect of this is an idea that has worked out very well for us. Once every 2 months, each certain day's pupils, I mean, if 10 students have lessons on Monday, for example, then the last Monday every other month, all 10 will gather at one time, instead of each one having his own individual lesson. We invite their mothers and friends too, and hold in the classroom what we call a Monday concert, or a Tuesday concert, whatever the lesson day may be. Of course, we announce to each child ahead of time, now for the concert you'll play such and such a piece. So aiming for that day, he practices with enthusiasm and joy. On occasion, we may even assign a child 2 or even 3 pieces to play. But looking forward to the concert, he practices them all with real delight. And on the day of the concert, each child performs his solos before the group of friends and parents. The audience naturally applauds, which is a big thrill for the children, and we all have an enjoyable day of it. And taking a piece they've already mastered and playing it even better than before, this too is a great pleasure for the pupils. And by choosing pieces to play and assigning 1 or more to each student ahead of time, we find the children really practice these well. They listen to records, compare their own playing to that on the record, and really work at mastering the pieces. This contributes greatly to building in them the desire to practice. Anyway, we hold these such and such a day concerts by having the students who take lessons on that day all get together at one time. We do this once every 2 months, in addition to our weekly Sunday group lessons. Thus, periodically, every child gets a chance to play a solo before a group, and this too is effective in developing his desire to play. Now, the 5th method we use is our graduation system. We've set this up as part of the overall talent education system here in Japan. Every year in March, we hold our All Japan Convention, which might also be thought of as a super graduation ceremony. 5 months beforehand, that is around October, we begin accepting applications. For example, pupils of the lowest class must qualify on the basis of their playing of the gavotte by Gosek. That is the last piece in the first book, and if they can play it well, they graduate. In practice, what they do is make a recording in an audio cassette tape and send it to our headquarters in Matsumoto. I listen to each one and okay the pupil for graduation. Of course, none of them flunk. We don't flunk anyone, nor do we even use such terms. We only praise the children, recognizing that they have studied very hard. But as I was saying, we've set up a graduation system and a series of levels. And for the second level, actually a higher level within the beginning class, the students must master book number 3 and be able to play the final piece in it, Bach's Bourrée. And after they can play Bach's Bourrée really well, then we say that they graduate from the beginning class. In the next stage, they progress on up through book 5, learning to perform skillfully the first movement of the Vivaldi G minor concerto, and even being able to do the required vibrato. When they reach this stage, again they send me a tape of their very best effort at performance of the Vivaldi concerto, the first movement played with piano accompaniment. And based on that, again they graduate. These then are the first 3 levels. The fourth takes them on up through book 7, and here the graduation exercise is the Bach A minor concerto. After this graduation, students will move into the advanced class, so I require them to play the whole concerto. Again, they record it and send it to me. And recognizing their progress, here too we give them a graduation certificate. Afterward, as I've said, students enter the advanced class, where they work up through book 10. This is the final volume in our collection of practice pieces. The last piece in volume 10 is Mozart's Concerto No. 4, and it too they record and send to me. Again, I require them to play all the movements. After they have completed all this, they become graduate students in our research division. Anyway, this system of levels and graduations has a very stimulating effect on our students. For example, when a beginner knows that he must play Gosek Gavotte to graduate from the first half of the beginning class, as much as 2 or 3 months ahead of time, you'll find him working diligently to master the piece. And as I've said, we never fail anyone. Instead, when we send the tape back to him, we always enclose a word of praise, commending the student for studying so well. Moreover, it's a great thrill for the students to receive their graduation certificates and attend the graduation exercises, performing along with all the other pupils the piece they have been tested on. This all contributes to building the students' desire to play. In America, too, as the organizational structure of the Suzuki Association develops fully, surely they too will establish a similar system. And I know the results will be as we have experienced. And American children too will be enthusiastically preparing their graduation tapes, sending them in, and generally being full of the desire to play. Now, the 6th way in which we work at developing desire is by means of the concerts given at each of our branches. These are held once or twice a year, at which time all the students of the certain branch gather and give an outside performance to which the general public is invited. Needless to say, these performances are a great source of pleasure to the students. They get a lot of satisfaction just from performing all together, and this is a big thrill for all of them. In the same way, we annually hold our All-Japan Convention, which is attended by more than 3,000 children. They come from all over the country and gather at the Budokan Hall in Tokyo. Of course, it's relatively easy for us to do this in Japan, for our country is rather small. But at any rate, the convention includes a day of no rehearsal performances which all of the children join in. This provides a wonderful stimulus for them, and it too contributes to the development of their desire to play. Well, if the concerts at our branches and our All-Japan Convention make up our 6th method of building enthusiasm, then we can perhaps say the 7th is the technique we use of forming a little orchestra of our youngest beginners. This occurs at our classrooms and involves those students who have reached the point where they can play Gosek Govat. We have these youngsters form a little string orchestra with the cello players. They then play together some of the easier works from the collection of practice pieces as a string ensemble, a very cute ensemble too. We've been trying this out lately, and we've found that this method too is very effective in respect to desire, that is, in making the children really eager to play. Finally, another method we can't forget, what would it be? The eighth way in which we stimulate the children's desire? That's through the summer sessions we have in July and August every year. At present, we hold these in Matsumoto, and on the average, 1,200 children attend. There, every day, for 5 days, the children receive training together, and those who haven't been practicing are greatly affected by this. In fact, we often see very beneficial changes occur in them. They become children who really enjoy practicing at home. And we find that students who are not at all enthusiastic, because of this experience of playing with the more advanced students, they too come to play with vigor and brightness. At this summer session, there are many such ways in which the students influence each other beneficially. So we can truly say that our summer session too is one of the major factors contributing to the development of the pupil's desire. For us teachers, likewise, the summer session provides a chance to study and review our own methods. In this way, then, we can count 8 methods we've found which all contribute to building the children's enthusiasm. These are methods we discovered over the years as we taught, all because we constantly considered this problem of how to stimulate desire. In the future, perhaps other effective methods will be discovered. But to speak of just the method we are actually using at this time, I think I've covered them in the 8 areas I've explained. Now we're going to have one of our group lessons, and while we are doing so, we're going to explain to our viewers how we conduct these lessons. But as usual, we'll be having a good time playing together. First of all, these fingers here, they really have very little strength, basically. So to build them up, to develop their strength, we have this exercise. Let's try it. I think all of you here have a lot of strength. So try holding your arm out, upward, and open all your fingers like this. And then make a strong ring with your index finger and thumb. Strong. This way. Really squeeze them. Can you do it? Now the same thing with your middle finger. Now with your ring finger firmly. And now with your little finger. Is it really strong? Okay. Now let's try fingering Twinkle using the same power. Slowly. Okay, open your hands. Oh, was that allegro? I guess slower is better. And when I say to, really give it all your strength. Okay? Watch my hand now. Okay. Fine. Now once more. Good. Now this time, the melody is, it's fast, hands up, and when you do it with your little finger, wave your hand. Okay, start. Fine. You were able to wave your hands too, weren't you? Okay, we want to practice this some more. Middle finger, like this. Let me test you. Fine. It should be strong enough that I can't break it. Good. Really squeeze. And you want to use that same power when you finger the violin. Okay, now this time, holding your bows, we want to work on playing with vigor. We're going to practice lively movement. this bowing when playing allegro. Have your bow held up in the ready position and your violin held properly, but don't let the bow touch the strings. Ready? Hold your bows up, but don't touch the violin. Now raise them way up here. We want to practice this movement, as when we play allegro. That's it. And it's best to stop at the end of each stroke. That was nice and fast. Fine. You two in back, play the allegro melody. This. A tempo about like that. Okay? But the rest of you don't touch the strings. And don't smack the violin, for goodness sake. Do your bowing off to the side of it. Smacking's not at all healthy for violins. Okay? Ready? Start. Right. Energy like that. Good. Now really playing. All together now. Okay? Now at the same tempo. Fine. Now once more, starting with your arm down and bowing upward. This. Ready? Starting with upward bowing. Don't actually play. Just move your arm. Ready? Arm only. Where's the tip of your bow? Watch it. Okay. Okay, ready? Don't bow the wrong way. We're really going to play this time, so don't do anything silly. I think some of you got lost. Let's try it again. Very good, very good. That was fine. Now this time we'll play for real, the whole thing. Let's get ready. That was very good. Fine. And the movement should be like that. Do you know that tune? I guess not. Never heard of that? It requires the same motion. Okay then, let's play my allegro once more. Ready? Fine. Very well done. Okay, now, holding your violins properly, let's bow. That was pretty good. Except for some bad places, that was excellent. Thank you. Now, this is a children's group lesson in which we will be working on rhythm. All of you have such serious faces. I can tell you are all very serious people. So I know we won't have any smiling or laughing, but it is fun, isn't it? Now follow me. The rhythm for the two grenadiers is this. That ends one phrase, so we stop there and breathe. That's what we want to practice. It's not just repetition of 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready? The two grenadiers, just the beginning. Do it gracefully, with lots of feeling. Okay. Could you do it okay? Well, let's try it once more. Get ready, both hands out front, and then, ready, start. Fine, fine. Now let's try it with the violin. Shall we put on the piano accompaniment and try it that way? We can do this because we have made piano accompaniment tapes which we can play back on the tape recorder. But first of all, let's try it once without the accompaniment. And don't get rushed. Ready? Get your violins ready and your bows in place. Okay? Very good. Well, if that's the case, I think you are all ready to play with piano accompaniment. How many of you think you can? Raise your hands. Oh, I see. Everyone can. Good. Well, shall we try it? After the piano begins, I'll say okay, then you start. Fine, fine. You all did very well. Please practice just that way. Okay, let's bow then. Thank you very much. Now we're going to have an enjoyable time practicing in a group lesson situation. And today, I'm going to be checking how well they've remembered some of the pieces they've learned earlier. I always want the children all to have fun, even while I am testing their ability. To that end, I've devised various enjoyable games for our group lessons. These group lessons, as I've said, are a part of our program for building desire. Usually, we schedule them twice a month, though at some places, they're held once a month. And the children really enjoy and look forward to getting together and playing as a group like this. I consider this enjoyment an essential condition for effective teaching. Anyway, let's get on with our group lesson. Now, with smiling faces, let's stand up straight, face teacher. First, we'll bow to each other. Okay? Well, first of all, let's take the G minor concerto, the first movement of it, and let's play with a fine tone, and not forget our posture. Get your violins ready, and be careful of your form, okay? I can see you've all been studying very well, and since you can play the G minor concerto correctly, I'm sure you all have continued to practice and still remember all those other pieces you've learned before. Face teacher, and we'll have a little test. Watch me carefully now. Don't look away. Ready? First of all, please play this piece. I'll just pretend I'm playing it. You really play it. Ready? Play. A lot of you didn't look very sure of yourselves just then. So wind up your brains. Come on, let's wind them up well and get your thinking caps on. Now, are you ready? Okay, this time, play this piece. Ready? Start. Okay, fine. Now let's play Gosek's Gavotte. Ready? Start. And now Bach's Minuet number 1. Okay. Next, Bach's Bourrée. Bourrée, right? Okay. Now let's try Cho-Cho, or Butterfly. Next we'll do the Vivaldi A minor concerto, the first movement. Ready? The Vivaldi A minor concerto, first movement. And next, the two Grenadiers. Ready? Okay, start. Okay, and now Allegro. Okay, and next, Go Tell Aunt Rhody. And now the Vivaldi A minor concerto, third movement. Okay, next, the Bach double concerto. Now, what should we play next? What do you say? How about Handel's Bourrée? And now, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star? Now let's try Boccherini's Minuet. Then Beethoven's Minuet. Okay, fine. Now next, Perpetual Motion. Fine, very good. Now for our final piece. It sounds like I'm a little out of tune. Okay, our last piece will be this Vivaldi A minor concerto. And while you are playing it, just shrink down, down, down like this. In fact, see if you can do whatever I do. All right, let's try it. Ready? Start. You did that quite well. It's a good feeling, isn't it, to be able to play anything as you've done just now. Very well done. Now face forward. Face me and let's bow. Thank you very much. Very well done, except for some bad parts.